Have you ever been in a debate, a negotiation, a discussion, where, no matter how well you articulated your points, your opponent always seemed one step ahead, controlling the pace, dictating the narrative? What if I told you the secret to disarming them, to shattering their confidence, lies not in what you say, but in what you don't say? This is a pain every amateur strategist feels. The pressure to respond immediately. Your heart races. Your mind frantically searches for the perfect rebuttal. You fear that any hesitation will be seen as weakness, as a lack of preparation. So you speak quickly. You stumble over your words. You deliver mediocre answers just to fill the void. And in doing so, you surrender control. You are playing their game at their pace. You become a reactor, not an actor. And in any conflict, whoever reacts loses. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to turn this supposed weakness into your most lethal weapon. You will learn to wield calculated silence not as a shield, but as a spear. I will show you how strategic pauses can destroy your opponent's confidence, force them to make mistakes, and establish you as the figure of power and authority in the room. Before you even utter a single syllable of your defense, Machiavelli taught that a prince must be a master of both action and inaction. The powerful figures of history weren't those who spoke the loudest, but those whose silence carried the most weight. Stay until the end to learn how to master this dark and subtle art of power. The cost of not mastering silence is immense. You don't just lose the argument, you lose credibility. By rushing, you appear desperate. Your ideas, even brilliant ones, seem less valuable because they are delivered reactively. Over time, people learn that you can be hurried, intimidated, controlled. They learn that all it takes is a little pressure, and you will break. You become predictable. And in the world of strategy, predictability is death. Why are we so afraid of silence? It's a deep trigger for social anxiety. In a normal conversation, the rhythm is predictable. One person speaks, the other responds. An unexpected pause breaks this rule. It creates a vacuum, and the human mind, especially the mind of someone seeking to dominate, hates a vacuum. Silence is interpreted as judgment, disapproval, or worse, the prelude to a devastating rebuttal. It is this discomfort, this anxiety that you will learn to create and manipulate. Conventional advice is useless. They tell you to think before you speak, obvious, but unhelpful. They tell you to be a good communicator, which most people interpret as speaking fluently and without breaks. This is a mistake. The Machiavellian approach understands that communication isn't just about transmitting information. It's about controlling the emotional environment of the interaction. The solution isn't to speak better. It's to master the space between the words. So, how do we turn this uncomfortable vacuum into a battlefield in our favor? How do we make silence our most eloquent weapon? We begin by understanding a fundamental principle of power. The core principle is this: silence is not the absence of a reply. It is a reply in itself. It is an active move on the conversational chessboard. While your opponent uses words to attack, you use silence to build a fortress from which you can observe, analyze, and most importantly, force the enemy to reveal their positions before you move a single piece. Think of the most effective diplomats and statesmen in history. They were known for their economy of words. Their power resided not in fiery speeches, but in the deliberate calm with which they listened and responded. They forced the world to wait for their word, and in that waiting, their power grew. They knew that he who speaks first and fastest often reveals the most and controls the least. In today's hyperactive world, deliberate silence has become a superpower. It cuts through the noise. It commands attention in a way that no shout ever could. It positions you not as another voice in the cacophony, but as the conductor who observes the orchestra before giving the command. Imagine an opponent in a meeting attacks you. Your plan is too risky and will blow the budget. The amateur's response is to immediately defend. No, it won't. We've thought of everything. The strategist's response: he maintains eye contact, lets the accusation hang in the air, making it uncomfortable for the one who made it. And only then does he reply. Who do you think appears more powerful? If you are already beginning to see how this simple shift can alter the entire dynamic of a conversation, make sure you are subscribed, because the practical weapons we are about to cover will turn this principle into an unbreakable habit. The first weapon in your silent arsenal is the power pause. This is your primary defense. You use it immediately after your opponent has made an aggressive statement, an accusation, or a challenging question. It is a 3 to 5 second pause of pure silence and unwavering eye contact. Psychologically, this is devastating to the opponent. He expects an immediate reaction. By giving him nothing, you break his script. Your silence communicates. Your attempt to destabilize me has failed. The pressure he tried to put on you boomerangs back onto him. He begins to doubt the strength of his own attack. The execution is simple, but requires iron discipline. Your opponent finishes his attack. You breathe calmly, maintaining direct, firm eye contact. You remain in complete and absolute silence for 3, 4, maybe 5 seconds. The opponent, now uncomfortable, will often start talking again to fill the void. He exposes himself. This is the self-exposure trap. Let him do it. Only then do you reply, briefly and precisely. The trap is your own anxiety. You must train yourself to withstand the discomfort. Do not look away. Do not fidget. You are a granite statue, unmoved by the wind. The second weapon is offensive. It is the inquisitorial pause. You use it after you ask a pointed question. Your goal here is to use silence to extract more than the opponent intended to reveal. When you ask a direct question and then fall silent, you create a vacuum the opponent feels compelled to fill. It's in the improvisation that lies become inconsistent and true motivations come to light. The tactic is a two-step process. First, ask a short, clear, open-ended question. For example, you mention the data doesn't support this. What data, specifically, did you analyze? As soon as the last word leaves your mouth, go silent. Adopt a posture of intense listening. Your expression should say, I am fascinated and eagerly awaiting your detailed response. Do not save them. Let the silence pressure them. The trap here is your own impatience. You will want to interrupt. Don't. Silence is the tool of clarification. Let it work. Mastering the defensive and offensive use of silence is a cornerstone of strategic communication. We release advanced strategies like this every week. So if you're serious about building your mental arsenal, hit that subscribe button now. You won't want to miss our final and most devastating weapon. Our final weapon is the most subtle and the most arrogant. It is the dismissive pause. This is a micro pause, combined with a non-verbal cue, used to invalidate an opponent's point before you even dignify it with a verbal response. It works because it directly attacks the opponent's credibility by reacting to his argument not with a counter-argument, but with a brief moment of near pity. You frame him as naive or irrelevant. This is an art. The opponent makes his statement. You pause for just 1 or 2 seconds. In that pause, you execute a micro gesture, a slight, almost inaudible sigh, a subtle raising of an eyebrow, a half smile at the corner of your mouth. Then you respond, often by completely ignoring his point. Interesting. Anyway, returning to what actually matters. Be warned. This is a nuclear weapon. Use it sparingly, only when you need to establish dominance quickly and decisively. You now possess an arsenal that most people will never understand. The power pause to defend yourself, the inquisitorial pause to attack, and the dismissive pause to declare status. You have learned that the most feared warrior is not the one who makes the most noise. This transcends simple debate tactics. In the age of distraction, silence is clarity. In the age of reaction, silence is control. In the age of noise, silence is power. It isn't about having nothing to say. It's about understanding that at the right moment, silence says everything. It says you are calm under pressure. It says you are thoughtful. And most importantly, it says you are in command. Your mission, starting today, is to become aware of the rhythm of your conversations. In your next meeting, identify a single opportunity to use the power pause. Just one. Feel the discomfort yours and your opponent's. Observe how the dynamic shifts in that instant. That is your training ground. Now, the floor is yours. In the comments, tell me, in what situation do you feel most pressure to answer quickly? And how could the power pause turn the tables in that scenario? Let's discuss tactics. If you're ready to master the subtle arts of power, ensure you are subscribed and watch our video on the Machiavellian art of using criticism to destroy your opponents. Remember, while everyone is focused on what to say, the strategist is focused on when to say nothing at all.